Let me ask you, what can happen in 90 seconds? Can a person disappear in 90 seconds? This question has been haunting the Biggs family for 25 years. January 2nd, 1999 is a normal day for most people. However, for the Biggs family, it's the worst day of their lives. January 2nd, 1999 is the day that Mikkel Biggs of Mesa, Arizona disappeared and was never seen again. In the 25 years since her disappearance, very little evidence has showed up and no one has been charged. In the years following her disappearance, she became known as the girl who disappeared in 90 seconds due to the way it happened. Mikkel's case is very sad for many. However, many do hold hope that somewhere out there, Mikkel is still alive and is waiting to return to her family. We can only hope. This video will go over her disappearance as well as some theories in this case. While it won't help in solving it, I do hope it can help in some way. This is the disappearance of Mikkel Biggs. Mikkel Diana Biggs was born on May 31st, 1987 to Darian and Tracy Biggs. She lived in Mesa, Arizona, a suburb of Phoenix, with her parents, as well as her 9-year-old sister Kimber and 3 of her siblings. She lived in this house on Elmore Avenue. Her bedroom was the window on the left side of the front door. Mikkel was described as intelligent and a happy girl. She was someone who was always up for an adventure. She was seen as funny and could put a smile on anyone's face. Mikkel was a musician, being talented at the clarinet and piano at a young age, and was taking piano lessons at the time. She attended Limerick Elementary School as a 6th grader and Kimber as a 4th grader. She had a knack for drawing, and if she saw something or thought of something, she would draw it. She dreamed of working for Disney when she grew up, wanting to be an animator. She was an honor student at her school, being a straight A student, and she was just seen as an amazing person. She was a tidy person who kept her room clean, in contrast to Kimber, who was dirty. Kimber had the best way to describe Mikkel. Perfect. Something I'm sure she was once jealous of and hated, but has since grown to love and honor of her big sister. She was the daughter every parent wanted, and the kid that every sibling wanted to be. Mikkel had a lot going for her, and certainly a bright future. Unfortunately, that was all about to change. January 2nd, 1999. A new year had dawned, the last year of the 1990s and the 1900s. Even though it was a year away, people were excited for the year 2000. While Christmas was over, children were still on break. On this day, Mikkel and Kimber were playing outside near their home on Tortex Street and Elmore Avenue. Mikkel played around on Kimber's new bike. This annoyed Kimber as she got it for Christmas, and Mikkel had her own bike. Eventually, that evening, as the sun was setting, the two heard an ice cream truck coming. They waited, and waited, and waited, and waited. But the truck was taking a long time. It was starting to get dark and cold. Kimber was getting cold and decided to go get her coat. Other children also got cold or bored and headed home as their parents called them. Mikkel, however, remained. Kimber left to go home. This was the last time Kimber would see her sister. When she got home, the girl's mother told them it was time to come inside. Kimber went back outside to tell Mikkel it was time to come in. But when she got to the spot she was last at, Mikkel was no longer there. All that was left was the change for the ice cream and her bike on the ground with the wheels spinning. At first, she was annoyed, thinking Mikkel left the bike there to have Kimber take it and was possibly playing a prank on her. But it didn't take long for her to figure out something was wrong. Her sister was nowhere in sight. Kimber returned home to tell her mom, Tracy. She then told her to go and check their neighboring friends, the Millers. But when she did, she wasn't there either. The Millers sent out one of their sons to go and help her, but they weren't able to find her. Their son was able to go and find the quarters. After that, he sent Kimber home to go and tell their mom. Like any parent, Tracy began to worry. Soon they called the police to investigate. The police had Kimber retrace her steps from the time she left Mikkel to the time she got home and then went back to where Mikkel was. Within 30 minutes, the police and hundreds of people in town were looking for Mikkel. They checked everywhere in the area, but the girl was nowhere to be found. They checked 35 mine shafts in the Satin Mountains, wondering if she went down them or possibly fell down. They checked dumpsters and containers. They asked ice cream vendors if they were in the area at the time of her disappearance. Scent dogs were used. A small trace was found but ended up just a few feet away. This possibly meant she was taken into a vehicle. It became clear that Mikkel wasn't playing or just wandered off. Somebody took her. Hours and days passed, and Mikkel was nowhere in sight. An investigation was made. One of the first people investigated was none other than Darian, the girl's father. Kimber was annoyed by this, knowing he had nothing to do with it. She thought it was unfair that police thought he was a suspect, all while losing his daughter. It's also possible that Darian was rather calm during the early hours and days of the investigation. Normally, when a loved one disappears, people will freak out about it. And if they don't, it often draws suspicion from the police. So if Darian wasn't really freaking out, it might have made him suspicious. It's possible Darian was questioned due to his lack of showing emotion. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't have any emotions. He just didn't show them much openly. I'm guessing he's a man who loves his children but just never really hugged, kissed, or smiled too much. However, he wasn't clean. He said he was at work when she disappeared, but this was a lie. He also lied that he was at a friend's house at the time. Darian then admitted he was having an affair with another woman at the time. And while he failed a lie detector test, the police agreed it was due to the emotional stress. Darian was later cleared. There would be a few more suspects over time and questioned, but all were cleared. One I will get to shortly. As more time passed, so did the hopes of finding Mikkel. Her family and community held on to hope she was alive and she would come home. But soon, reality began to set in. The people of Mesa began to accept that Mikkel was likely dead. And as hard it was to accept, the Biggs came to this conclusion as well. As time went on, so did any hopes of finding Mikkel. In 2004, January 2nd, 5 years after her disappearance, her family held a funeral. There was a little white casket with nothing in it, topped with purple flowers, her favorite color. The funeral was seen as closure for her parents, especially Tracy, as it did ease the pain at least a little bit. My Heart Will Go On from Titanic played, one of Mikkel's favorite songs. Kimber blamed herself for the whole thing for years. She not only lost her sister, but her childhood. While most kids were playing games and being innocent, she had to look for her sister, have sleepless nights, and cry knowing her sister was gone. At just 9 years old, Kimber had to face the real world. Her mom told her that if she stayed out, she could have been taken, or worse, both of them. It wasn't her fault. It was the kidnapper's fault. She came to accept her older sister was likely gone, but tried to remain on the hope. When Jamie Claus, a girl who was kidnapped and found alive, it did give her a little hope that maybe one day her sister will return home. She has her own family now, making Mikkel an aunt. She once showed a picture of Mikkel to her son, and he seemed to have recognized her. This makes Kimber feel her son met her and that she was his guardian angel. She is protective of her son, and rightfully so. She has worked with the National Criminal Justice Training Center, training cops how to prevent events like this from happening, and if they do, how to manage them. The kids' parents divorced. Darian's affair, combined with the stress and agony of losing their eldest daughter, was just too much for their marriage to handle. Darian married another woman, and Tracy moved to Utah. Perhaps Meza was just too painful a memory. Every year, on her birthday, as well as the anniversary of her kidnapping, Tracy lights candles and buys some purple flowers from Mikkel to honor her memory. Well, I'm not sure. Kimber still seems to live in Mesa, and maybe her siblings too. People in Mesa, especially in neighborhoods right by where Mikkel disappeared, were scared. For months, many parents refused to let their children go out alone. Even as parents calmed down, they still had to wonder if the man who took Mikkel was out there, and he could take theirs too. Mikkel's case was one of the most costly in Arizona history. Helicopters searched the area. Lab tests were done. Flyer after flyer was put out. Many people were questioned and hundreds helped out as best they could. It's become a well-known case with many hoping to bring justice to Mikkel. Many people held on to hope that she's out there somewhere. While the search does go on, they are no closer to finding her. In recent years, people online have kept Mikkel's case alive, making articles, videos, and groups dedicated to her. Documentaries, such as Gone in 90 Seconds, have explored the case. Even though it's been over 25 years, people remember. Mikkel would be 37 if she were still alive today. Many theories have been made about her disappearance. One is that she was taken by a sexual predator. There was at least one who lived near the Biggs, who I will talk about shortly. Any others who might have been questioned were cleared. If she was, could she have been taken by one who lived further away? If this is the case, she might have been held in captivity. This would bring up the question if she is still being held. While it would be hard holding someone for that long, it's not unheard of. J.C. DeGard, for example, was held captive for 18 years, until she was finally freed. Mikkel might have lost her will to leave and would be too weak to fight back. Kidnappers also threaten to hurt their captor's family if they don't obey, which would lead Mikkel to listen to protect them. It would also matter if it was just one person or a group of people. Another theory is that she was taken into trafficking in Mexico and sold into child slavery. She might have been taken, sold, and forced into labor, or something else. While it's not as common in the US, it still happens. Would she still be a slave in Mexico today? If she were, would she be in labor or a sex slave? A third theory is that the supposed ice cream truck hit her. Not wanting to face manslaughter charges, the driver took her and hit her. I find this one the least likely. I've never seen an ice cream truck go more than 20 miles per hour in a neighborhood. If that. I say they usually go slower than that. An impact enough to kill her would have to do a lot of damage to the bike as well. It was supposedly a new bike, so it wouldn't have many scratches or dent on it. If someone did find out a vendor was in the area and what employee it was, hiding her would only make things worse. The first two listed theories would give the possibility that she is alive. If she were to be found or free herself, she could return home. Of course, this would also mean that she's faced 25 years of torment and trauma. She has gotten no love and is just a thing to the monster who has her. Even if she is alive, she would never be the same. Mikkel might be physically alive, but the Mikkel that everyone knew would have died a long time ago. D. Lee Blalock is a name that will always haunt the town of Meza. Blalock lived just a couple blocks down from the Biggs on Tortak Street. Neighbors said he seems friendly and went by the law, but he once raped a woman named Susan Quintet. This made Blalock the main suspect. He claimed he was watching a football game in his garage at the time the kidnapping happened, which his wife confirmed. However, his wife also said she wasn't sure if he was watching it at the exact moment. His house was searched and nothing odd was found. While they wanted to search a trailer, they didn't have a search warrant for it. I'm not sure if they ever used a dog to go and sniff it out either. The Biggs asked Blalock while in prison for the rape crime if he took their daughter, but he maintained his innocence. Blalock was also seen in a video for a block watch for Mikkel 10 years after she disappeared. In the video, Blalock says,
"And I see that you're living next to me, and I see something suspicious going on, I guarantee you, I'll be calling 911.
However, several months after Mikkel disappeared, he claimed he was innocent of sexually harassing a neighbor. Evidence said otherwise, and he was arrested. Today, Blalock is serving 187-year sentence for attacking a neighbor. He still maintains he's innocent of the Mikkel case, despite having nothing to lose at this point. The Big family, the people of Meza, and some people interested in the case believe he is responsible for her disappearance. Susan even agreed to drop her charges against him if he just confessed, but he still maintained he was innocent. People tend to believe he had hidden her in his trailer and disposed of her when no one was looking. But still, there was no evidence and he was cleared. Some wanted to talk with him again and about that old video. Blalock has his own kids, and some would like to know how he would feel if his kid was missing for 25 years, with no answers. Could a guilt trap like this work against him and make him confess? As of right now, there is no information this idea has happened yet. Years had passed. While many people still hoped for Mikkel, many others had moved on. The Biggs family had grown up and were doing different things now. But on March 14th, 2018, something strange happened. In the town of Neenah, Wisconsin, a man walked into the police lobby with a dollar bill he found in the collection of money for Girl Scout cookies. On it, it had a shocking message. It read, "My name is Mikkel Biggs. Kidnapped from Meza, Arizona. I'm alive." This was shocking. It seemed for the first time in years there was evidence in this case. This brought back hopes for the people who knew about Mikkel. Was she truly alive? This was seen as a breakthrough for some in the case. However, there were doubts. The Meza police weren't sure if it was real or not. Even if it was, there would be no way to trace it, as many people will leave their fingerprints on a dollar. The Biggs family was also skeptical. For one, the first name was misspelled, missing an L and an E. They also thought the handwriting looked as if someone tried to write it like a child. Because of this, they thought it was fake and just a mean prank by someone. However, this has led to theories. Some people think the name being misspelled could be due to the note being written in a rush. If Mikkel is being held in captivity, it's possibly she always has close eyes on her, and maybe only has seconds to go and write this down. When people are in a hurry or are panicking, they do tend to misspell even easy words. If Mikkel did write this down, she didn't have time to go and spell check it. Just it was readable. Mikkel is also an uncommon name. I personally have never met a Mikkel before. Even doing a Wikipedia search only brings up one person. And unless her full name is Kimberly, even Kimber is a rather uncommon name too. In fact, the name Mikkel isn't even listed on Beyond the Name. That's how uncommon it is. Another possibility is that she's received head trauma and emotional stress. All those years of torment have hurt her cognitive skills, up to the point where she doesn't even remember how to spell her name. As for the handwriting, people say this could be due to the fact that Mikkel was a child when she was taken. If she's been in captivity, she probably hasn't written a lot of things for years. She hasn't had a formal schooling to let her handwriting improve. Most people's handwriting improves throughout their school year. If you were to go and check your schoolwork when you were an 11-year-old, it would probably look different from the handwriting you have as an adult. While Mikkel might be an adult, she would still have the education of a 6th grader. Of course, if this was legit, there would be no way to trace the dollar. It remains a mystery if it's real or not, but the cops and Bix lean on fake. Mikkel's disappearance is one of the most baffling. Detective after detective have worked on the case, but have nothing. There are little clues aside from the chains, the bike, and the possible dollar. Many kidnap cases will usually have some good clues, even if it turns up to nothing, but there isn't anything here. The closest thing to witnesses were Kimber and a man in a car who passed by before Mikkel was captured, but no one actually saw it happen, despite it being a good-sized neighborhood. No one heard Mikkel scream. No one heard a man yell. No one heard a car going fast down the road, and it all happened in 90 seconds. One might argue with this too. The abductor had to wait for Kimber to leave. If he took Mikkel when Kimber was still in earshot or could see him taking her, the cover would be blown. Kimber would have gotten there seconds earlier to see Mikkel being dragged away. So it might actually be less than 90 seconds. Nobody has seen or heard of Mikkel since. In many kidnap cases, people will claim they have seen the missing person, even if they are years older. I'm not sure if there have been any Mikkel sightings though. The Mesa police did say they have a person of interest in early 2024, but nothing has come up since. There is currently a documentary in development by Feld Films that will tell the story. Kimber is working on it, and family members and detectives will also play a part. Maybe something like this could finally bring some light into this case. Kimber hopes that this will keep Mikkel's case alive as well as help other families who've had similar stories. I hope so too. Despite this case being the most costly in Arizona history, I don't see it discussed as much as other people's missing cases. People like Asa Degree, Lars Matting, Mara Murray, Andrew Gosden, Madeline McCann, Michaela Gordant, and Morgan Nick seem to get more attention, which they do all deserve attention so they can be solved, but I think Mikkel needs just as much as they do. Hopefully it will be a successful documentary and raise awareness, and maybe solve this once and for all. Could have been taken. It could have been. Okay, so this is pretty much going to be the part of the video where I pretty much just state my opinions on the whole case rather than the facts. The other part of the videos where I kind of just shared the straight up facts, even though I did give a little bit of my opinion, but this part I'll just pretty much give up all of my opinions on it. So why did I choose this case among others? I think the main reason is because I don't really see it discussed as much. For other cases like Asha Degree or Morgan Nick, you see this discussed all the time. But you don't really see Mikkel as much, which is kind of weird since it's one of the biggest Arizona cases, but you don't see it that much. It's not like it just gets discussed at all, but still, compared to the others, you don't really see it. Some of the others got usually a ton of views on YouTube, but Mikkel I didn't really see as much, and I just thought it deserved more attention. I also kind of thought we had some of the same interests. I wanted to work at Disney when I was younger. I liked playing on the piano. I kind of like being funny. I like learning, so I just thought we had some of the same interests, and maybe in some alternate universe, both of us maybe could have been friends. And that's pretty much just the main reason. While I was researching this, one of the weird things I found was I couldn't find anything on Wikipedia. Even though Wikipedia isn't really the best source, but I couldn't find anything, which is strange because I thought I read about this on here a few years ago. I was almost sure there was a page for Mikkel, but I couldn't find anything. And I couldn't even see anything on the weird disappearances page or the kidnap cases page. Nothing at all. So it kind of makes me wonder, maybe I just imagined it, and maybe I was somewhere else on some other site, or maybe someone deleted this, which would be kind of suspicious, but who knows. And I also looked at the missing children website, and I couldn't find anything there as well. Now, to be fair, that might more have to do with that her family did have a funeral for her, so maybe she's declared dead by the state. So that might be why she's not on there, but still, the Wikipedia one is weird. So looking at that day, when you go and look at the events, so Mikkel and Kimber were trying to go just wait for some ice cream by the curb, like any kid usually were, and Kimber decides she needs to go and get her coat. So she walks back, gets inside. Her mom tells her to go and get her sister because it's getting dark out. But she goes back and Mikkel isn't there anymore, and she just sees kind of this eerie little sighting of the curve with only the change and the bike on the ground with the wheels spinning. So you have to go and first think, what happened to her? So was she taken by a stranger, or maybe was she taken by someone she trusted? This is always one of the first things you probably have to go and think about in an abduction case, because when they are taken by someone usually they know, or at least a family member, it's usually going to turn out, I guess, more better, if you want to say the word. While if it's a stranger, they're more likely to get killed. But we don't know, since no one saw it. There were no witnesses or anything. And I kind of wonder whether if they knew Bralock or not. If they actually knew him, or he was just a complete stranger. He was in the neighborhood, but I'm not really sure if they really ever actually talked to him or anything like that. He lived a couple of blocks away, but I never saw anything, any information if they actually knew him. And there's also how it took all 90 seconds to go and have her disappear completely, and just without any trace at all. And could it really be done too much in 90 seconds? Now, it's not like it happened in 10 seconds or anything, but still, within 90 seconds and no trace, no witnesses or anything like that, it kind of makes you wonder how she just disappears like that. It is a very sad and strange thing to look at. And within 30 minutes, the police were there, people were searching all over her, but no trace could be found. And so
you have to go and, of course, look at all the circumstances of where she could have gone, or anything like that. One of the things that people like to go and look at is the ice cream truck. And most people agree that there was probably never an ice cream truck. It was most likely something to go and lure children. Some person probably just had a recording of some music, played it in their car or whatever, and then got their chance. So, if I had to guess, I don't think Mikkel was actually chosen from the start. The person who did this probably just were going to do any kid that they could have. If Kimber was the last one there, he would have taken her. If any of the other kids were there, he would have taken one of them. And Mikkel was just the last unfortunate one there that had to go and come to this. And it's really unfortunate that she just couldn't go inside with her sister or anything like that. Because the person just went and saw their chance and they took it. And there were no witnesses to this. Pretty much none at all. I think I read that there was one person driving by who saw Mikkel, but other than that, no one else was out there. All the other kids were heading inside since it was getting dark, and no adult was outside at the time to go and see it happen. So, without any witnesses, we couldn't get a description of what the guy looked like, what his car looked like, or anything like that, which really goes and makes it even worse. So Brolic was always the biggest suspect when it came to this. When I was doing research, I kind of came upon two things, so I wasn't really too sure. In the other part of the video, I said, see, he was supposedly a friendly guy, but I also read that he had a history of being violent and anything like that, so I really wasn't really sure which one to actually do, but I just went with one of them. But since he never had any too much suspicion where it got him arrested or anything like that, I decided to go with the nice guy part. One of the things that he did own was a trailer. Now, even though his car was searched, or his house, his trailer wasn't, because they didn't have a warrant for that. And it's really unfortunate because if he did take her, she was probably in there. He just got lucky, and they didn't get to go and check it in time. And I kind of wonder why the dogs, they didn't have the dogs sniff out the trailer or anything like that. Then again, maybe they need a warrant for that, or maybe it was just too early in the investigation, and by the time they suspected him, the scent would have been long gone. But that's what a lot of people usually think, that she was probably in the trailer if Brolic was the suspect. Now, there isn't any evidence to go and say Brolic was the one who did it. His wife said that he was watching the Cardinals game on TV, and there was a Cardinals game between the Cardinals and the Cowboys. But I'm not really sure if she could ever confirm that he was watching the game at the time of the abduction. If he wasn't, that does make him look a little bit more suspicious. But according to her, that's what it was. But there was just never enough evidence to go and charge him with anything. But of course, years later, or some months later, he did get charged with going and raping that woman. And he got put in prison for it. So because of that, if he did it, why does he maintain his innocence? Why does he still say that he had nothing to do with it? Since, I guess the worst that can happen at this point would be the death penalty. I'm not sure if Arizona does that or not, but really, he has nothing to lose. He's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. He's a loser, so what's the point? If he did it, he might as well just confess, and so we can go and have a family finally just have closure. That's what a freaking human would do. If you have any humanity at all, you would at least confess that. I kind of wonder whether they should go and send an undercover cop or a snitch after him to go and try to get it out of him. Send some kind of undercover cop to go and act as a criminal who got arrested and go like, oh yeah, I killed that bitch good. and just go and brag about it and try to butter him up, make him a friend or a person snitch who's already there, and try to go and get him to confess that way. Who knows, it may not work, but it's worked before with some people, so I kind of think maybe that's something maybe they should do, is try to go and get some kind of undercover cop there to go and see if they can go and get any information out of him, just any car he might have been in. So, something that they did with the Morgan Nick case was they eventually went and tracked down the car that she was going to be in. Early in the case, there was this one guy that they did suspect might have done it, but then the investigators were stupid and they let him go because she thought he was telling the truth. And eventually he did get arrested for another crime, but unfortunately he died in prison, and it wasn't until years later where they found out that he was the one who took her. And they were able to do that when they were able to go and track down his car, which was now under new ownership, and they found some DNA in it that was linked to Morgan's siblings and her mom. So, the bad thing about this is that if it is that, it's going to be really hard to go and track down a car like this. You have to go down through ownership to ownership to ownership, and you also have to go through the case that it may not even be around anymore. This happened over 25 years ago. That car might have been scrapped a long time ago. But there is always a chance it might still be up and running. There is the chance. It didn't work for Morgan. And if it worked for Morgan, I think that's good enough for me. And that they should try to go and track down his car. And if they do, look for some DNA. Yes, the chances of finding any DNA are in there, whether it's hair or blood or anything, but if they find some, closure. They know he did it. All they have to do is go and make him confess where he put her body so they can give her a proper burial. And if they don't, they should just go and threaten to cut his balls off or something. That's what they should do. If some person isn't confessing, threaten to cut his balls off. He'll confess. Either he'll confess right there, or he'll cry his eyes out up to the point where, yeah, if he's telling the truth, he didn't do it. So, let's look at the theories. So one was that she was taken by a predator. And if you don't count Brolock, this could be anybody. They did look at some predators in the area, and all of them seemed to be innocent. But I kind of always wonder whether she might have been taken by a predator who lived outside the limits. Maybe he even drove from city to city to go and lure kids, and that would make him less suspicious. But we really don't know if that's the case or not. Another theory, of course, it was that she was trafficked. That she might have been taken by some people and then sold into child slavery, which is god-awful. And we would also have to go and just think of, she's been through all these years of torment and trauma with both of them, with predator and child trafficking. But what if she was under trafficking? Where would she be today? Would she still be in slavery, or would she be in something else? It's really hard to think. And then the other theory, early on at least, that she might have been involved in a hit and run. This one is the least likely to me, since I've never seen an ice cream truck go more than about 15 miles an hour. So, if it wasn't a hit and run, that ice cream truck had to be going really fast. And even then, it would have to have enough impact to go and hurt the bike, give some scratches and dents on it. And it was a brand new bike, and from what I read, there didn't seem to be any. So I don't think it was a hit and run. And even then, a guy who had to go and hide her body would be taking a huge risk there. He'd just be making things worse. And then there's also the possibility if it was someone she knew, someone in the neighborhood she knew. some kind of neighbor or maybe even a family member. Could have been one of them, since I believe family abductions are more common. I might be wrong on that, but when it is a family abduction, they're usually going to be safer. But why would a family member go and take her? Since these usually are in divorce cases, usually a father would go and try to take his kid, but this wasn't the case here. But could have been a neighbor. There have been several cases where a neighbor who seemed friendly went and lured this kid and then freaking killed him. So that one is also a possibility. Then there's the dollar bill. So the family and the cops are doubtful about it. They don't think it's real. One of the main reasons is because her name is misspelled. And there are theories behind it. Some people think that she might have been injured at one point, up to the point where it just messed up her cognitive skills and she can't even spell her own name correctly. Under a lot of trauma, that can happen. You can get if you get beaten up enough in the head, it can cause brain injuries and cause you to go and forget certain things, or may not be able to go and do certain things anymore. So that could be a possibility. I've also seen some people say that maybe it was written in a rush, the message. So because when you're writing things in a rush, especially when you're kind of scared, you're not checking for spelling. That's really the last thing you're thinking about. As long as it's readable, then that's good. And if it was written in a rush, she may just not have had a chance to go and write down her name correctly. But you also have to go and think about, why didn't she just go and write down her abductor's name? Why didn't she write down the possible address or anything like that? And was it because she just didn't have time to go and write it, which would be really unfortunate. You think maybe the better idea maybe would be just to go and slip that dollar in a pocket or anything, and then write down later, then put it back in the wallet, and then try to go and hope someone reads it. And another theory is the handwriting. And they said that they didn't really think it was hers because the handwriting seemed childish. And the theory behind this is that because she hasn't had school since she was a kid, her handwriting would still be childish. It would still be that of a 6th grader. Throughout your school career, your handwriting does get gradually better. And if someone hasn't had a chance to improve, if they've barely written anything over the past 20 years, it's probably going to stay the same, if not become worse. So that could be a possibility as well. I'm not sure if her handwriting was ever compared to anything she had, since I really think it should have been. Even if they are doubtful that it was hers, it should have been compared to her handwriting. Whether it was compared to some old schoolwork or something she wrote down just randomly on a piece of paper, or even just a library card of her signature, just anything like that could have been good. And if they had an exact match, or even sort of a match, that would be something. Because I really hardly can think that a jokester could go and get her handwriting down. There's no way he would know it. And of course, even if it was compared and shown to be a 100% match, there's still going to be a way to go and traffic it. Because so many people are always going and handing out dollars, and there will be a bunch of fingerprints on it. I guess they could go and try to check for Mikkel's fingerprints if they have it, but other than that, they're pretty much just going to go cold right there. It is really weird to think that just in 90 seconds, she disappeared completely. In a lot of the other kidnap cases I read, it's usually a little bit longer. For Asha the Gree, she disappeared in the middle of the night. And then for Morgan Nick, it was mostly because her mother took her eyes off her for a few minutes. And then she was with some friends at the time, Morgan was, but they lost sight of her and some person got her. But with Mikkel, there are no leads or anything. It's a very strange case. One of the sad things about this is that Kimber blames herself for this. She always thought that if she just stayed out there with her sister, would have things turned out differently? Would Mikkel still be here? And I can't see why she asks herself that question. But her mom also tells her that it could have been her instead that was taken. And she also would have had to go and tell her that it's possible that both of them could have been taken. It could have been worse. And Kimber also lost her childhood out of this, when she was just 9 years old. While, all her friends were going around and playing around, she had to go and just wonder where her sister was. And I can't even just comprehend something like that. Imagine losing your childhood when you're only at the age of 9. To me, that is just heartbreaking. Just to go and lose your sister, but also that as well. It's made her have to go and grow up a lot faster than most kids, and just a lot worse than it is for some people like myself. And I pretty much just wanted to go and talk about this case, just to go and get a little bit more attention, because, like I said, the others I've seen seem to get more attention than this one does. Again, the Wikipedia thing, I thought it was kind of strange. I was almost sure it used to have a page, maybe not, but God, I was sure. I was really sure it had a page at one point. It's just strange that it doesn't have one anymore. One thing I kind of wonder is if doorbell cams existed back then, could this case have been solved a lot faster? I remember the case of Salem Savaka, this one girl who got snatched right from her mother's arms and then was later found because the people were able to go and look at doorbell cams and see what the car looked like. And later she was found and returned safely to her parents, thankfully. And I kind of wonder if doorbell cams existed back then, could it have saved Mikkel? Could have they looked at the doorbell cams, see whose car it was, if it was a person who lived in a neighborhood or anything like that, and follow it? Could have that made things a lot easier? And it's a shame that they didn't exist back then. I know some people think they're a nuisance, and I agree, they can be a nuisance at times. But, they also stop crime. They can go and stop thieves from getting your stuff or anything like that. And if doorbell cams existed back then, they could have stopped this from being a lot worse. Even if it resulted in Mikkel being dead, they could have at least had a proper burial and then put the guy in jail right there, right then. And she does really deserve justice. Really, any person does. Like Amber Hagerman, or pretty much any other person who was kidnapped and never found or killed or anything like that. They all deserve justice. And I always hate it when they don't get it, and the person who go and did it is walking out there still because they're some freaking coward and only care about themselves. I always really hate that. And yeah, there might be a chance they're in jail right now, but they won't get charged for that crime. So, do I think Mikkel is alive or not? It's hard to say. I want to believe she's alive, but given the circumstances of how long she's been gone and who was the sexual predators who were there and everything, you had to most likely think she is gone. But at the same time, you also go and look at the people who have been rescued over the years. Sean Hornback was missing for about, I think, 4 or 5 years until he was found, and everyone thought he was dead. There was these group of girls about a decade ago, I can't remember their names, but these about, I think, 3 girls who were held captive for about 11 or 12 years, and they were found alive. And then probably one of the most famous ones was J.C. Dugard, who was found after being held captive for 18 years. Long after everyone thought she was dead, she was found and was returned to her family. And I always love those stories, just going to see them go back to their families, even though they had to go through a bunch of trauma. It's always nice to go and see that. And it's not really same as the others, but I also remember hearing a case where a person was found after 70 years, where he was taken and then raised by another family. 70 years. So you can't really say never. There might be a chance Mikkel is alive, but you still gotta go and look at the reality of it. To me, I think you gotta kind of have this mixture of both hope and reality. You want to hope they're alive because you care for your loved ones. You do really want to hope so, but at the same time, you gotta look at the reality of it. And you also gotta look at the bad things, like everything they've been through, and wouldn't it might be better if they were just dead and at peace. It's a weird thing when it comes to something like that. You want them back, but sometimes you think maybe it's just better that they're gone. And to me, that was like just kind of a mixture. You gotta have hope, but not too much hope. Because if you have too much hope, then if they're never found or if they're found dead, it's going to be even more crushing. But if you come to go and accept the reality of it, it won't be as bad. And if you go and accept they're dead 100%, you might find it hard to believe that they are alive if they're found. So to me, you just gotta have this really good mixture of it to go and kind of have this balance so you can come to the conclusion when a conclusion does come. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say on this video. If you do have anything that you know on this case, on Mikkel or who took it or anything like that, please give the information you can. They will really need it. If you can, call the phone number. I'll put it right down here, right here. Can you see it? Let me more center it. Yeah. Just let it be right there for a moment. That good? All right. There it goes. And if anything else, just call them, and they will probably really appreciate it. I would also recommend going and joining the Justice for Mikkel Biggs Facebook page. It's actually a Facebook page made and monitored by Kimber herself. She originally made it years ago as remembering Mikkel Biggs as just a little remembrance for her sister, for people to go and talk about her and things like that. But when she started getting a bunch of tips on there, she changed it to Justice for Mikkel Biggs. So, if you do have any information, go and give it on there as well. I joined the group, even though I don't have any information on there, but still, it's I think a good group to go and join. And Kimber, if you ever happen to watch this, don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. It's a stupid creep's fault who doesn't deserve any forgiveness. A person who doesn't even deserve to be called a freaking man. To me, their balls are ripped off, but they don't deserve any sympathy. And you are also a great sister. For going doing all this hard work, you proved yourself to be a great sister. And wherever Mikkel might be, I think she knows that. She is happy to call you her sister. She is very proud of you right now and very happy of you just to go and see what you're doing, wherever she might be. So don't ever give up on what you're doing. But that's all I had to go and say on this. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.
little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry, be happy. In every life we have some trouble, but when you worry you make it double. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy now.